Please welcome the Honourable Andrew Furey, Premier of Newfoundland and Labrador, Krista Quinlan, Clerk of the Executive Council, and the recipients of the Public Service Award of Excellence. We have been enjoying music provided by pianist Joe Tompkins. Please join me in thanking Joe for sharing his talents this afternoon. Also, thank you to our singer today, Steve Maloney, who is with the musical theater company Tara Bruce. As well, thank you to Heather Crane and Denica Philpott of the Newfoundland and Labrador Association for the Deaf Interpreting Services, who are the interpreters for today's event. Before we begin the presentation ceremony, as you are able, please rise for the singing of the Ode to Newfoundland.
O Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command, quand embrasse porter les pays, il sait porter la croix. Dans l'histoire est une épopée des plus brillants exploits. God keep our land glorious and free. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Please be seated. Good afternoon, Premier Furey, Ms. Quinlan, honourable ministers, members of the House of Assembly, colleagues, families, friends, and award recipients. A special thank you to selection committee members in attendance today, Ann Chafe and Trevor King. Welcome to the 19th Public Service Award of Excellence ceremony. My name is Jamie Chippett. I am the Deputy Minister of the Department of Tourism, Culture, Arts, and Recreation. I would also like to welcome those who are watching this ceremony online, as it is being live streamed. Before we begin, I would ask that you please ensure cell phone ringers are turned off. Thank you. The Public Service Award of Excellence is the highest honor an employee can receive from the Government of Newfoundland and Labrador, and I am pleased to be a part of this prestigious ceremony. Each individual recipient of the Public Service Award of Excellence will receive a glass trophy, a framed certificate, and a lapel pin. The Department of Health and Community Services will receive a large framed certificate. The Honourable Andrew Furey, Premier of Newfoundland and Labrador, and Krista Quinlan, Clerk of the Executive Council, will present the Public Service Awards of Excellence. I invite the Premier to share his opening remarks.
Thanks, Jamie. What a pleasure to be here in person, hey? Finally. Although I have to tell you, the last time I was on this stage was during a festival, and I'm feeling kind of nervous like I was back then. Good afternoon. What a pleasure it is to be here today in person at my first Public Service Awards of Excellence as Premier. It is a privilege to acknowledge the accomplishments of 4 amazing individuals, as well as offer special recognition to the Department of Health and Community Services for its efforts to protect residents during the COVID-19 pandemic. I think it goes without saying the last 18 months have been unprecedented. We have all had to adopt and adjust in our lives to limit the impact of COVID-19. Thanks to the dedication, sacrifices, and commitments of residents and public service employees alike, we have fared far better than most jurisdictions. Although there is light at the end of the tunnel now, as vaccination rates increase and the province slowly begins to return to normal, we must, each and every one of us, remain vigilant. I am confident, however, that we will emerge from this pandemic, because of each and every one of you, a more caring, more compassionate, and stronger society than ever before. The call to public service has always been a noble pursuit, and not one enshrined with the motives of accolades and compliments. Rather, one of a more quiet, caring reverence built on an innate sense of accomplishment and reward on serving a common person, a common society, a common good. In ordinary times, the impending gratitude can be as thin and as uncommon as a ghost. Yet, these are no ordinary times. And in the face of extraordinary pressure, with overwhelming challenges, you have all shown true leadership. Society and the people of Newfoundland and Labrador have applauded with great enthusiasm, and you should all be incredibly proud, because you are all leaders. But what is leadership? It is what you have all displayed as individuals and as a collective as the public service. There can be no worthwhile leadership from any man or woman in any field: business, law, politics, religion, science, the arts, without that person having a profound sense of self-worth and value. And the very foundation of self-worth is happiness. And happiness, contrary to the well-known phrase in the American Declaration of Independence, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, cannot be pursued any more than you or I can pursue sadness or any other abstraction. Its pursuit is not possible because happiness, like leadership, is a byproduct of being. Now, we all know friends who have pursued the happy life and failed miserably. Why? Because they that set themselves no clear goal, because they followed vague dreams or instant gratification. Real leaders, like the ones behind me, understand that above all else, the good life leads steadily towards happiness for his or her community. And they know that the good life is not necessarily that which makes a great deal of money or brings about a great deal of fame. A real leader knows it's never about winning and losing. They know, paradoxically, fair can be foul, and that first can indeed be last. True leaders know that the right sense of self-worth comes from playing the game right. And if you'll pardon an old but apt cliche, it's not whether you win or lose, but it's how you play the game. This center today, in which we are gathered, represents a long and rich tradition of leadership of our public service. And I'm honored to be here today to help recognize that. The individual recipients of this year's Public Service Awards of Excellence are proof that the government of Newfoundland and Labrador has some of the best leaders in the entire world. Your passion for your jobs is evident, and your colleagues who nominated you were glowing in their praise. Mr. Davis, Mr. Legge, Ms. Spurl, and Mr. Walsh, you are not just amazing employees, you are amazing role models for all others in the public service. You may come from different departments and have cumulative different experiences and responsibilities, but you are all passionate leaders in your own right, in your service to the people of this province. Whether it was working to ensure the House of Assembly could continue to sit safely in the midst of the pandemic, implementing the gold standards of safety procedures in government facilities, developing new ways to ensure that COVID-19 funds were dispersed efficiently to those who desperately needed support, or working to identify the remains of a young soldier who paid the ultimate sacrifice during World War I. You all went beyond what was expected. To the employees of the Department of Health and Community Services, you have worked tirelessly around the clock, sacrificing much and great to help keep all of us safe. While we have all been impacted by COVID-19, you, my friends, have saved lives. So congratulations to the entire team of leaders. We are all, as a province, collectively in your debt. To those of you receiving the awards today, on behalf of the government in Newfoundland and Labrador, I want to thank you and congratulate you. By accepting the highest honor that our public service employees can receive, you are joining elite company. What matters the most in the history of Newfoundland and Labrador, and perhaps any people, and indeed any individual and leader, is not, however, the award itself. It is the song playing behind me on a cell phone. No, I'm just kidding. That's all good. Look, it's Jamie himself who said, so perhaps we should rewind and say, make sure your cell phones are turned off. I think we should make sure that Jamie is struck from next year's recipients. By accepting the highest honor that our public service employees can receive, you are joining elite company. What matters the most in the history of Newfoundland and Labrador, and perhaps of any people, and indeed any individual and leader, is not, however, the award. It's the advancement towards higher values. The strength of our way of life comes from our Western tradition of devotion to the principle of human worth, the very foundation of which is self-worth. Real leaders are aware of this, and they detest all who reach what they call success by climbing over others at all costs. The best measure of success in life, said H.G. Wells, is the ratio of our accomplishments to our abilities. Abraham Lincoln put it this way: I'm not bound to succeed, but I am bound to live up to what light I have. You have all not only succeeded, but helped shine that light for so many across this province, and we are eternally grateful. To all the rest of the valued public service employees, you are indeed valued. And while the awards today may be ceremonial, we all respect and understand the sacrifices that each and every one of you make on a daily basis for the improvement of the people of Newfoundland and Labrador. We are all united in this fight against the pandemic, and we will all be stronger when we come out of it because of your efforts. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Premier. That brief musical interlude was brought to you by my stupidity. So there's no other way to carry on after that. For the ceremony, award recipients will come forward to the stage, and I will read a citation outlining the recipient's exceptional contribution to the public service. To receive the Public Service Award of Excellence, presented to individuals and teams who through exceptional work performance have demonstrated excellence in public service, the Department of Health and Community Services. Accepting on behalf of the department is Deputy Minister Karen Stone. I would also invite any members of the Health and Community Services team who are in attendance to stand in your place while the citation is being read. In March 2020, COVID-19 gripped Newfoundland and Labrador as the first wave of the pandemic started in the province. The pandemic placed extraordinary demands on the Department of Health and Community Services team, but not surprisingly, they stepped up in a big way to lead the pandemic response from the very beginning up to today as we slowly return to our normal activities in ways that are safe. The Department of Health and Community Services led with a health and safety focus, but also with kindness and hope. Everyone working in the department demonstrated a shared sense of purpose and demonstrated leadership through open and regular communication. There continues to be an unwavering commitment to making decisions based on science, using expertise and research in pandemic epidemiology. The Department of Health and Community Services mobilized not only the work of the public service, but the entire province. They have succeeded in their ambitious goal of achieving rapid control over each COVID-19 outbreak, not just flattening the curve. Other provinces have looked to Newfoundland and Labrador as the gold standard in pandemic response, and this is in no small part due to the contributions of the work of the entire department. The work of the employees to ensure the safety of the people of Newfoundland and Labrador has been outstanding. There have been hundreds of media availabilities, a comprehensive vaccine rollout, alert level planning, and responses to thousands of queries from the public, businesses, and organizations. All this has been done as the department continues providing the regular services and programs that are so vital to residents. Truly remarkable. We acknowledge and congratulate every employee of the Department of Health and Community Services, as well as those from other government departments who stepped up to support the work of the Department of Health and Community Services during this challenging time. We offer a heartfelt thank you for their leadership and commitment. As well, thank you to all members of the public service who went above and beyond during what was a very challenging year. To receive the Public Service Award of Excellence presented to individuals and teams who, through exceptional work performance, have demonstrated excellence in public service, William Bill Davis. William was nominated by Natalie Hallett. William Davis is an area manager of Mount Sion Central with the Department of Transportation and Infrastructure. He directly oversees 40 employees and more than 140 facilities on the Avalon Peninsula. In 1979, he started his career as a fourth-class power engineer in Pleasantville, moving on to a variety of building manager positions before taking a brief hiatus into the private sector. In 2010, he returned to become area manager for the highest concentration of public servants in any area of the province. His colleagues describe him as kind, dedicated, knowledgeable, and professional in all aspects of his work. Although conducted mainly behind the scenes, the work he does is vital to the operations of every department across government every day of the week. Mr. Davis and his team played a key role in reconfiguring the House of Assembly to meet requirements for the COVID-19 pandemic. His division worked tirelessly with the Department of Health and Community Services and House of Assembly staff to develop and implement an innovative solution. The House of Assembly was one of only 2 Canadian legislatures that was able to meet in person during 2020 and thus far in 2021. Mr. Davis' commitment to his work is an inspiration to everyone around him. He is known as a team player who wants his department and the government to succeed. He is always working to improve the function, operation, and accessibility of the buildings under his responsibility, and helping to make them more inclusive for everyone. To receive the Public Service Award of Excellence, presented to individuals and teams who, through exceptional work performance, have demonstrated excellence in public service, David Legge. David was nominated by Tracy English. David Legge is Senior Manager of Corporate Safety with the Department of Transportation and Infrastructure. In his role, he advances occupational health and safety priorities. Mr. Legge's work has resulted in positive trends in injury reduction and increased hazard awareness, due in large part to the safety culture that he has fostered over the past 18 months across the department. His colleagues describe him as patient and understanding, with a clear focus on how to approach complex issues. Mr. Legge's response to the COVID-19 pandemic led to a rapid development and implementation of 9 safety procedures that ultimately became the standard across the government of Newfoundland and Labrador. He played a key leadership role in developing revised safe work procedures, identifying personal protective equipment requirements, mitigating potential work refusals, and other measures to help staff deliver critical services such as road maintenance and ferry operations. Mr. Legge worked as part of a team with Natalie Hallett and Robin Bursey in Transportation and Infrastructure, as well as officials from the then Human Resource Secretariat and the Department of Health and Community Services to respond to the pandemic and adapt to public health guidance. During this time, he also advanced work on contractor safety and other occupational health and safety priorities. Mr. Legge's colleagues say that his work has made a lasting impact. To receive the Public Service Award of Excellence, presented to individuals and teams who, through exceptional work performance, have demonstrated excellence in public service, Deanne Spurl. Deanne was nominated by Stephen Mercer. Deanne Spurl is a manager, gas tax administration, with the Department of Municipal and Provincial Affairs. She was instrumental in the planning, implementation, and execution of 2 major programs built from the ground up in 2020 to provide financial support to municipalities across the province: the COVID-19 Stimulus Program and the COVID-19 Arenas and Pools Fund. Both of these were created and delivered at the height of the COVID-19 pandemic, demonstrating Deanne's creativity, unyielding work ethic, and commitment to service excellence. The COVID-19 stimulus program funded small-scale provincial community improvement projects with a goal to provide short-term employment to stimulate economic activity in municipalities across Newfoundland and Labrador. The COVID-19 Arenas and Pools Fund assisted municipalities and recreational organizations to survive the financial impacts due to pandemic closures and restrictions. Ms. Spurl took on a lead role in designing and delivering these 2 programs. by building on her experience and working relationships with the municipalities and anticipating their needs to ensure the programs were effective and efficient. Her work has also provided a valuable template for municipal funding programs that may be used again in the future. Ms. Spurl built a positive relationship with her municipal clients and was invited to speak and present at the Professional Municipal Administrators Annual Convention. Her diligence, reputation, and positive attitude inspires others in her department. To receive the Public Service Award of Excellence, presented to individuals and teams who, through exceptional work performance, have demonstrated excellence in public service. Greg Walsh. Greg was nominated by Melanie Tucker. Greg Walsh is a director and the provincial archivist at the Rooms Corporation. His colleagues describe him as an outstanding individual, a person who excels in leadership roles and inspires others to follow his example. Mr. Walsh's involvement in the project that identified the remains of Private John Lambert of the Newfoundland Regiment had a remarkable impact on the Rooms Provincial Archives. His work was essential to the Department of National Defence and the Canadian Armed Forces Casualty Identification Program in identifying the remains of Private Lambert, who gave his life in service during the First World War. Also, after a year of meticulous research using numerous archival, historical, and modern resources, Greg was able to provide the Department of National Defence with the information required to contact living relatives of 13 of those 16 Newfoundland Regiment soldiers. Mr. Walsh was also instrumental in acquiring one of the most significant collections in the provincial archives of Newfoundland and Labrador has under its care, the records of the International Grenfell Association. In both the professional and personal sides of his life, Mr. Walsh is a passionate promoter of Newfoundland and Labrador history and culture. He has served as president of the Association of Newfoundland and Labrador Archives and has represented this province nationally as Provincial Archivist of Newfoundland and Labrador and the National Provincial Territorial Archivist Council. In 2008, he was awarded the prestigious Horizon Award, which recognizes outstanding achievement among Memorial University's young alumni under the age of 35. Since then, Mr. Walsh has completed the Advanced Leadership Training Program at the Gardner Centre, and he recently received his certificate for 20 years of dedicated service to the Government of Newfoundland and Labrador. He continues to inspire his colleagues with his leadership, unwavering support, and constant good humor. Congratulations to all award recipients. I would now like to introduce Krista Quinlan, Clerk of the Executive Council, to offer closing remarks, followed by a video which highlights some of the wonderful work done by our dedicated public service. I'm going to check my phone now.
Thank you, Jamie. Good afternoon. Thank you, Premier Furey, for your remarks earlier. We truly appreciate your support and your recognition of the public service. The Public Service Award of Excellence ceremony is a special time to congratulate and recognize award recipients. It's also a time to pause and reflect on what we all public service employees have accomplished together as a team. The events of the past 18 months have fundamentally changed how we live and how we work. And as the Premier stated, the global pandemic has prompted us to adapt and adjust in new ways. Over this period, we've witnessed the undeniable excellence of the public service of Newfoundland and Labrador. We've seen you adapt, deliver, and rise up to meet the needs of the residents. And while it's true that we've faced challenges before, recent weather events come to mind, nothing has been this sustained or widespread. Without hesitation, everyone stepped up, overcame obstacles, and supported each other. There was incredible focus and dedication. There's no way to adequately express our profound gratitude for all that you've done, so I'll simply say a heartfelt thank you and applaud. I'd like to thank the selection committee for the difficult job that they had in reviewing the nominations and selecting this year's recipients. As you all know, employees nominate their peers for their service delivery excellence, leadership, innovation, and relationship building. This year we had 10 individual nominees and 7 team nominees, representing a total of 225 individuals. I'm sure it wasn't easy to make the final selections, as there are so many who are deserving of recognition, so thank you for your time and commitment. To William Davis, David Legge, Deanne Spurl, and Greg Walsh, please accept my gratitude as you accept these well-deserved rewards. Your drive and determination are commendable. You inspire your colleagues and demonstrate the impact that we can have when we're focused on the bigger picture. To the employees of the Department of Health and Community Services, thank you all for effectively guiding Newfoundland and Labrador through a pandemic and keeping us safe. I can say with certainty how reassured the public has been with the decisions you've made and the actions you've taken. I know it hasn't been easy, but you've set a new standard for professionalism, perseverance, and commitment to not only your team, but to the entire province. And to the countless unnamed individuals who supported the Department of Health and Community Services through this effort, thank you. Your dedication has not gone unnoticed. So in closing, I'm incredibly proud of these award recipients and of the entire public service. I'm honored to be here along with you, working together to build a stronger future for our province. Thank you all.
You guys, you're kind of a big deal.
Thank you for all that you do.
Your efforts are appreciated and important.
Thank you. We couldn't have done it without you.
BSF, vous êtes formidable.
Thank you for the incredible work you do every day, and please keep it up.
It means a lot to me to know that I work for an organization where I'm surrounded by people whose main motivation is supporting Newfoundlanders and Labradorians.
I've always thought of the public service as kind of the heartbeat of the province. It's the work that public servants do allows for Newfoundlanders and Labradorians to go about their business without really thinking about what's going on. And it's kind of like, well, when I said the heartbeat, it's like your organs. Your organs are functioning absolutely fine and you don't think about them until something changes. And we had a big change with the pandemic.
All the teams have really come together. For example, with our arena and pool program, which was designed to bring COVID-19 relief to arenas and pools that they couldn't operate during the early stages of the pandemic. Our team went so far as to be calling these people on the phone to make sure that they were aware of the grant program that was available to them, to make sure that this funding that was meant, the purpose of this funding was to help them survive the pandemic, and if they didn't know about it, then they couldn't avail it.
Je pense que dans un mot incroyable, l'effort que j'ai vu, surtout pour mon équipe, le bureau des services en français, les gens pour la première fois étaient isolés, ils étaient chez eux Et on a trouvé des façons de travailler ensemble avec des technologies pour la première fois et c'était sans précédent.
It's a really good feeling when you wake up in the morning and it's going to be a challenging day, and you know that it's a time when there's going to be a lot of inquiries because maybe there was an announcement the day before, but you're working with a team that really cares and they want to put out good, consistent, quality answers that are going to help people.
The thing that stood out to me probably most during the pandemic was our ability to continue to deliver priority services. And what I mean by that is the ability to get checks to people, to get benefits to people that rely on those benefits. And I think that the public service did a magnificent job.
One of the things that was front and center for me was the work that occurred at the points of entry to our province. So upwards of 100 individuals have been deployed since very early days in the pandemic, going back to April 2020. Screening everybody who was entering the province. And this was an entirely new border services function that had never existed before in Newfoundland and Labrador. And we really piloted that approach and were able to refine it over the course of the year. But given the linkages to the Atlantic bubble, given the need from a public health perspective for Dr. Fitzgerald's special measures were to change from time to time. It required staff to be nimble. It required them to take what was often legal or very broad public health direction and translate it into operational policies, often with very limited notice. Coming out of a 2 o'clock briefing, quick call with the staff to say there's a new rule, it's X, Y, or Z. And then they had to start implementing that often right away. So required quick thinking, it required flexibility, and certainly an ability to do something different, often quite different from the day-to-day duties.
There's a very human side to the workforce and the workplace, and you work in a small team. People want to stay connected to one another. We would even have a Friday afternoon, like a weekly checkup, just to make sure everyone, not just work, which was important of course, but socially and family-wise to make sure everyone was doing okay. Because we all have children and we're home with the children during the pandemic, and it's just a care and concern for one another to make sure that everyone was doing okay.
The room right behind us, it's the House of Assembly. The House of Assembly, their work had to continue as well during the pandemic. We still had to govern. And this House of Assembly was one of 2 jurisdictions in the entire country that was able to have every member meet in person during the pandemic. We had a group of people, transportation and infrastructure, people from the House of Assembly, all the members, the Department of Health, we all worked together, and we were able to reconfigure the House of Assembly so that everybody could meet in person.
I know in my experience in 30 plus years in working in the public service, there is no shortage of creativity and innovation in our public service.
To be able to come into work and to work with people every day who are proud of the work that they do, who have an amazing work ethic, they're diligent, they're very client focused. They work every day to make sure that our clients, our towns, our communities, our citizens are served in the best way possible.
You adapted, you were innovative, you supported each other, and you went above and beyond despite the challenges of a pandemic. To our entire public service, on behalf of the Government of Newfoundland and Labrador, thank you for your work and commitment in providing service excellence. Your contributions are greatly appreciated.
Thank you. To those who took the time to prepare nominations recognizing the accomplishments of your peers, we say thank you. We also extend thanks to the Selection Committee for their thorough consideration of the nominations. The committee consists of persons familiar with, but at arm's length from the public service. They review the nominations and recommend individuals and teams to be recognized. This year's selection committee included Mr. Justice Alphonsus Fowler, Committee Chair, and members Paula Burt, Gary Norris, Trevor King, and Ann Chafe. We must also acknowledge and thank the Planning Committee, who are instrumental each year in the management of the nomination process and planning of this ceremony, as well as our colleagues at the Department of Transportation and Infrastructure and the Arts and Culture Center for their support today. And last but certainly not least, we offer our sincere congratulations to the recipients of the Award of Excellence and extend our thanks to you for your outstanding commitment to the public service of Newfoundland and Labrador. Please give them another round of applause. We will now close the formal part of the ceremony. As you are able, please rise for the singing of the Ode to Newfoundland.
When sun rays crown thy pine-clad hills and summer spreads her hand, when silvern voices tune thy rills, we love thee, smiling land. We love thee, we love thee, we love thee, smiling land. As loved our fathers, so we love where once they stood, we stand. Their prayer we raise to heaven above, God guard thee, Newfoundland. God guard